Hi, my name is Danny Leung from Timbre Rock and Roots, and you know what, it's one of my luckiest days. I've got Bonnie Raitt, the legend, sitting right beside me. So how's it been, Bonnie? How do you enjoy Singapore?
I'm telling you, we got here 2 days ago, and we've been chili crabbing it, and just walking everywhere. I've been to the zoo, I've been in a boat ride, I've been all over the place.
Yeah,
It's hard to go to bed, man. You want to just stay up in that sultry air. It
yeah.
takes a minute to get used to the humidity for us, because I'm from California and it's drier. But I love it here. I've heard great things about it, and it's lived up to the reputation.
You know what? You just gave me inspiration for a new song, Chili Crabbing.
Oh yeah,
Sounds like a funky tune. Chili
definitely.
Crabbing.
Hey, Mike's apartment was slamming.
Ah, yeah, they're great guys.
They're really great. I said, man, I was sitting there going, what a great drum sound, and then they don't even have drums.
It's a cajon.
I know.
But really get okay. So I wanted to ask you a few questions. I'm a blues lover. I'm also a blues musician. Perhaps maybe you could talk a little bit about how the blues is going and where it's going. And perhaps the second question is that you want a Grammy for Americana.
Yeah.
Maybe for your fans, we explain what that style means.
Okay,
Americana.
okay. Well, for starters, where the blues is going, I mean, I don't know how it is for you guys over here, but thanks to you at this great Roots Festival, I think there's a really healthy attendance of a lot of generations now at blues festivals in America. The blues club scene, I think, is not as thriving. A lot of clubs are closing. We need to get more beautiful women in there to attract the guys, I guess. I don't know what it is. I've heard all kinds of speculations. But, I think the blues is an incredibly important music to be understood and studied and taught in the schools and celebrated, and the history of blues music. And on our tour, we support a lot of blues educations to let people know, especially young black kids who have not a clue what kind of roots of their music. So I think it's a bunch of us as cultural ambassadors that love this music need to stay on it and keep mixing festivals like this where there's names like Paul Simon mixed with blues artists. That whole genre of roots and blues or whatever, and then that leads us to the second question, which is Americana. I think about 11 years ago they came up with this format because they couldn't figure out how to put us in, wanted to say, oh, are you a country act or are you a blues act? They were joking and saying it's music with banjos, but it's actually, I'm really glad they came up with this format because now I have a place that there's a radio format that will actually play us in the States, because it's just roots music of all kind. I don't want to be I'm not a pop or a rock or a blues or country. I mean, all those things mixed together. So Americana just has to do with, the roots of American music, and that's what I celebrate in my music.
Great. You talk about Asia just now, and I tell you honestly, there's a lot of blues fans in Asia. In fact, I think to me it's kind of like the last frontier for the blues in a way.
I agree. I think there's been always tremendous more loyalty to blues music in Europe and UK and in Asia. Yeah.
And there's a lot of potential for that, in a sense. What I love about the blues, and I love the blues from Bessie Smith,
Yeah.
from Mama Thornton, all the way to Robert Johnson, of course, and
Fantastic.
onwards. And what it tells me is that it's basically one man or one woman against the world, and they're wearing a suit. They're going on stage, and outside could be a cruel world, but when they're on stage, it's their time. And
Yeah.
so, what would you say is the inspiration of the blues to you? I mean, for you?
Well, it's just real. I mean, whether it's a sultry kind of a slow burn groove or it's a mournful kind of John Lee Hooker at his most, like I'm in the mood. That's one of the sexiest and most deep songs that that to be able to sing that with him was just a highlight. And then jump blues, every day I have the blues, all those Elmore James songs, I defy you to sit down in the middle of that, So whatever you're feeling, betrayal, sexy, forlorn, betrayed, brokenhearted, you play the blues and you feel better, and it brings people together. And I don't care where you go in the world, you put on a blues record and a good blues band, people come together. And that's what great soul music is all about. That's why it will never die, and it's getting stronger, and there's more young people learning it. It's an incredible revolution because of YouTube and the internet. If people worry about how they can't afford guitar lessons, guess what? Go on YouTube. You can learn anything you want on any instrument, and you can learn about the history of blues also from YouTube. So, now we just have to make sure people buy the records and not try to download too much for free because those artists get paid little enough. It's important to realize that music is a job, and people ought to pay for. You wouldn't go in a store and steal a shirt. You shouldn't
Absolutely.
go and download a record either.
I still buy vinyls because I
Yeah.
find it that vinyls is kind of like, you appreciate the artist for everything, the artwork, the photography, the liner notes, and I'm a big fan of vinyl. But I wanted to ask you maybe last two more questions. One question would be, what would you advise Asian blues musicians or in general musicians in terms of the way they may be able to, like for example Mike's apartment, to be able to take the music to America, because that's not always the case.
Oh yeah. Well, I think like any musician, what I say for advice is just hone your craft and play for your relatives, play for your friends, get good playing live, and film yourself on your laptop or on your camera and check it out and look at it and be your own judge and say, or have your friends, somebody that cares about you, be honest and say, hey man, you're out of tune, because there's not a lot of auto-tuning going on in the blues. I mean, it's the in-between notes that make it great, I don't like to fix things. I just play. If I make a mistake, man, it makes it funkier. So
because it's real.
Yeah, and I think if people love the music and it's like John Lee says, it's in them and it's got to come out. You got to just keep playing, and it'll go international. There's no reason why Asian blues artists can't be number one in them all around the world.
You heard that? So this is
women too.
Women too, Asians, whatever. I mean, if you love the music now. Thank you so much.
Thank
You've
you,
been
Danny.
so kind.
Oh, I'm just so excited to be able to come all this way, halfway around the world, just to see Jimmy Cliff and Paul Simon.
Yeah, and I'm
what
just
a great lineup.
Oh, thank you.
This
Thank you very
festival
much.
is rock and blues rock. So I hope you enjoy our show.
Oh, we will certainly do. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, good night. And Bonnie's going to get ready for the show.
Enjoy the rest of the night and keep the blues alive.